Hi everyone, I'm Alex, and over the past 10 years, I have become completely obsessed with holistic health and alternative medicine as someone that was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis and adenomyosis. And what has changed my life forever is becoming the expert on my body. Through transformative lifestyle changes and learning how to play the healthcare system, my endometriosis is in the best place it's ever been. And in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 biggest mistakes we are all making when it comes to GP appointments and how you can fix them. And I guarantee you are doing number 5 without even realizing that you're doing it. I absolutely love talking about this topic because it is something that literally affects every single person. Doesn't matter how old you are, where you come from, your background, your age, your gender, anything. We all struggle when it comes to GP appointments. So let's get into it. Number 1, you are going to these appointments alone. You do not need to be a martyr, a strong independent woman, or anything else. When you go to the GP appointment, it does not need to be a sign of strength or how strong you are or how resilient you are or X, Y, or Z. You have got enough going on without needing to prove to yourself or anybody else that you can do these things alone. You can do these things alone. You do lots of things alone, but actually in this appointment, it is definitely strength in numbers, because when you are sat in that chair and you are stressed, you are worried, you are maybe in pain, you're dealing with some very difficult symptoms, if you've got somebody sat next to you who is not experiencing that in the same way, maybe they're your partner, your friend, your family member, they care about you, they're probably worried about you, but they are not having the same experience that you are. So they can sit in that chair, they can listen to what you say, they can listen to what the GP says, they can make notes for you, they can record things for you, they can even give you a little nudge to make sure that you don't forget to tell the GP something or ask a certain question, or you can tell them important information before the appointment and say, please don't let me forget, or this is really important, or I need to bring this up. You do not have to do these appointments alone. You're actually not going to achieve anything more by doing it alone. You don't need to prove a point. There's no kind of bonus point scoring system here for how many appointments you can do solo. This is a really tough thing to do. It can be a really lonely thing to do. So if you have support at home, whether it's friends, family, partners, colleagues, anyone that you feel comfortable taking into that appointment with you, please do it, because 2 pairs it is are always better than 1. Number 2, you are going with symptoms, but you have no idea if there are any patterns and you are not tracking your symptoms. So when I had symptoms of endometriosis, I had never tracked my cycle. I didn't know anything about period apps or anything like that. I didn't know the 4 phases. I had absolutely no understanding or realization that I should be tracking anything. I just had all these different symptoms that made no sense to me, and I just wanted to dump them on the GP's lap and be like, tell me what's wrong, tell me what's going on. And I totally get that feeling, and that is such a natural thing to want to do, to just be like, oh, it's all in my head, I've got all these things I'm worried about, take it, you know, you figure it out, you tell me what's wrong. And that is the GP's job and the doctor's job and secondary care and any expertise that you then have to see. That's 100% what they should be doing. But they have a huge amount to do in a short space of time, and especially GPs in primary care, they have a limited level of knowledge. They have to know a small amount about a lot of different things because they see so many different conditions in surgery and so many different types of people. So if you can take all your symptoms, but you can present it in a way to them where there are pre-established patterns, they're links with different parts of your cycle, you found triggers, whether it's food or lifestyle or stress or drinks, when you can tell them that you have all of these symptoms, but they're linking to all these different things, whether it's things you do, things that happen to you, places you are, people you're around, stages in your cycle, all of that information is literally gold dust working out what is going on. You have to imagine that the GP is the detective and they have got a crime, they've got this crime scene, and you are not just giving them the random bits of the crime scene, you're giving them the evidence with a link to something else of what it could be showing or who the perpetrator or who the murderer could be. You are helping them be the detective, and that is the best thing that you can possibly do. So yes, take all your symptoms, write all your symptoms down, make sure that you take everything with you, every teeny tiny bit of evidence, of information. Nothing is too small, nothing is insignificant. Take every single symptom you're experiencing, But if you can, especially ladies, if you can have 3 months worth of these symptoms linking to your cycle, to when you bleed, to when you ovulate, to different phases, to what you eat, to what you drink, if you can take it with those connections, you are literally going to save yourself and the GP and other experts that you might get referred to so much time, because you are a wealth of information and you've already started to play detective. Number 3, you have no idea what you want the GP to do. Now, this might sound a bit strange, because surely if you're the patient, you're going with the problem, you're going with the symptoms, you're presenting it to the GP, and the GP's job is to be like, right, this is the problem, this is how we fix it, here's the solution, off you go. And in lots of ways, that is exactly what they're supposed to do. But it very much depends on how complicated the issue is that we're talking about. If it's something that can stay in primary care, so that's just your GP level, yeah, they probably can listen, give you a solution, and send you on your way. But actually, in many, many, many cases, especially conditions like endometriosis, adenomyosis, fibroids, PCOS, PMDD, the conditions are more complicated, and your symptoms require further investigation and scans and tests and sending you to an expert that actually is outside of the GP's remit. And when it involves that, you need to know what you want the GP to do, because there are so many options they have. They probably feel quite overwhelmed themselves. They might feel out their depth because, again, it's not an area that they're a real expert in, because they have to know a lot about a little. So go to that appointment knowing exactly what you want them to do. You've got your symptoms, you've got your tracker, you've got all of that information. You're taking someone with you that loves you and can support you. But before you walk through that door, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to look at your symptoms, look at the tracker, and then provide you with some short-term relief, whether it's pain relief or symptom relief, and you want maybe a type of hormonal treatment or a drug treatment? If that's all you want, that's what you go in and ask for. If you want to go in and you want some short-term relief, but you also want some further investigations and you want to find out what is causing this, and you want to push for a referral to gynae or for an ultrasound or an MRI or a certain department in the hospital, if you know what you want and the reason that you're going into this appointment, it will make your life and the GP's life so much easier, because they want to help you. They want to be able to make this a successful and a positive appointment for you. And that is so much easier when we take the guessing out of it. So think about what you want from it. Is it short-term, medium, long-term relief, investigations, a combination of all of them? If you know that, you can go in and you can make sure that you don't leave until you hit your goal. Number 4, leaving with no record of what you talked about and no notes about what the future steps are. Again, may sound really obvious, but it's so easy to not do this. You get completely wrapped up in the appointment. You probably feel quite nervous beforehand. You've given them all the information. You've taught loads. They've asked you questions. There's a lot of information being thrown around, and you can very easily get to the end of that appointment, stand up, thank them for their time, and then walk out the door. And it's not until you get outside the surgery that you suddenly think, oh my God, what was I meant to do something? What am I meant to do now? Didn't they tell me that I was meant to fill a form or ring a person or do something? And oh, I forgot to ask them how long that would take, or would that scan come through? So many questions can go through your head when you walk out of that appointment, because you're in shock. There's a lot of adrenaline and cortisol pumping. You're probably quite stressed. It was an intense environment to be in. So you walk out of there and suddenly all that information in those past 8-10 minutes has just gone poof out of your head, and you cannot for the life of you remember what you were talking about. That is why you write it down or you record it. Obviously, make sure that you get their permission, but you can make notes or records of whatever kind. You can make notes on your phone, you can write things down, you can ask them to write it down and print something off for you. You could even do a voice memo and record the conversation and listen back to it later to make sure that you can understand and really know what they were talking about and what the future steps are. Do not allow yourself to get pushed out or leave that meeting without knowing that this is where you are and this is where we're going. And these are the steps that we're taking to get from A to B. And number 5, you're apologizing for even being there in the first place. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. I have done this so many times, sometimes without even realizing until the words have come out of my mouth. You go to the GP, you booked your appointment, you're sat in the waiting room, you're feeling nervous, you're starting to question whether you should even be there. Are you making this up? Are you just being dramatic? Is there actually anything wrong? Your name comes up and you walk into your GP appointment. You sit down and the GP turns to you and says, so what's brought you in today? And one of the first things that comes out of your mouth is you sit there and you say, oh, well, it's probably nothing, but, oh, I'm really sorry to waste your time, but, oh, it actually might not be this big a deal, but I've started to experience this. So many of us start these appointments by literally apologising for existing, being there, bothering them, showing up on their doorstep. We are literally apologising for using a service that we have full entitlement to use. And this is a really powerful way to start off a conversation, and not necessarily in a positive way. When we start a conversation off and we start by apologising, and we start by apologising for being there, or for asking, or for wanting their help, or by taking up their time, we remove all of our authority. We remove our authority to use the service, to be looked after. We pay our taxes. We have every right to use the NHS. We also remove our authority as the expert patient, because you are the expert. Yes, the GP has qualifications and an enormous amount of knowledge, and they may well be very, very good at their job. But the one thing they don't have, that no one will ever have apart from you, is your expertise as the patient, because you are the expert. You are the only person that is living in your body, experiencing the symptoms and having to deal with it day in and day out. You know your body better than anybody else. You know your symptoms better than anybody else. You are an expert in your own right. But the minute we walk through that door and we start apologising or feeling bad for being there or feeling guilty or questioning ourselves, which is all totally normal, and I've done it hundreds of times myself, but every time we do that, we just chip away at ourselves. We're not the expert. We take away our authority. We take away our strength and our power in the 50% of the relationship between patient and practitioner. And that can really harm us. So I really want you to think about it when you walk into that appointment, when you sit down in that chair and the GP turns to you and says to you, so what has brought you in today? You say the next few sentences with authority and confidence, knowing that you are allowed to be there, you have a right to be there, you have made the right decision by going there, and everything you're about to tell them is important. They do need to hear and deserves to be investigated. You deserve the help. You don't have to do this alone. You are not taking up time. You're not using viable resources. You're not being selfish. You're not taking it away from anybody else. You have every right to be there. You are the expert and you are the authority. Okay, so let's recap the big five. Number one, we go alone and we try and be a martyr when we do not need to. Take someone with you. Number two, we bring symptoms, but we haven't tracked them and we don't know any triggers around them. Try and connect them to something. Don't just bring random symptoms. Help them play detective. Number three, we go to the GP not knowing what we want. We don't know what the goal is. We don't know what the action steps are. What do you want them to do about the problems that you're bringing to them? Number four, we leave with no record of what we've talked about or an action plan. Make notes, record it, get them to print something off, whatever you want. Just take something home with you that you can read or listen to later on. And number five, we apologise for being there, we take away our authority, and we remove ourselves as the expert when we don't need to, because you are the expert on your body and you have a right to be there. I know it can feel like GP appointments are never going to get any easier. It is never going to be easy to get one or to do them or to experience it or to maybe have a positive one. Maybe you are just continuously having really negative GP experiences. And if you are, I'm really sorry, because this is an awful experience. And I know when I was much younger, when I was 18, early 20s, I mainly had really negative GP experiences and it was incredibly difficult to navigate. It was exhausting, it was tiring, it was really scary, and it's not something that anyone else needs putting on their plate when you're already struggling. But if you can, please try these 5 top tips, because you never know what the smallest little tweak might make to your appointment. I hope today's video has been helpful. Please know this community is always here for you. If you are struggling with GP appointments or symptoms or anything to do with women's health, put it in the comments below. We will try and help each other. Share your top tips for GP appointments. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? Let's help and support each other. If you are living with symptoms or a diagnosis of endometriosis, adenomyosis, PMDD, PCOS, or any kind of women's health condition, and you are feeling lonely and isolated, then it's not just a period podcast. It could be just what you're looking for. We have an incredible community. we have amazing guests on coming to talk about everything that you are going through right now. You are not alone. Someone has walked in your shoes and they might have something really helpful to tell you. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I've loved having you. Keep looking after you, and I'll see you very soon.